motivation for the AST and what was basically the implementation process. In shorter words, you have to tell the alumni that what made you do this alumni small grant and the process of basically applying it, so that they may have an idea that if they have an idea related to your field or something that's relatable, so how they have to pitch in the idea in the proposal, and then we can always move towards the other side, like what impact your grant has created. So it creates a motivational factor for our alumni as well to do some work and bring a change in their community. Right. In the meanwhile, in the sessions, we'll be receiving live questions, hopefully. So I'll be sharing that with you as well. So meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you. This is.
Oh, the perfect. You all have the best lighting. And
Ashab, okay, Ashab, we are going live. We'll start the session. We are live, Ashab, please start.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. This is Ashab Lodhi, Alumni Outreach Officer, PUAN Punjab, and we are back again with some amazing session on Alumni Small Grant. So today we are going to talk with our 3 successful alumni grantee, starting with Dr. Ali Hussain, who is a PhD and is a media and communication. He's done his PhD in media and communication from Michigan State University, and he has over 15 years of experience in designing, implementing, and evaluating behavioral change in communication campaigns. With him, we have Mr. Bilal Farooq Khan. Bilal Farooq Khan is a key figure in the startup ecosystem of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and he has almost 8 years of diverse experience in head of marketing and communication for the National Incubation Center, Peshawar. With him, we have Ms. Shawana, who is a social activist and who works for the empowerment of women and transgender in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And she's been working through a non-profit organization called the Hawa Lur. In Pashto, it means Lur is a daughter, and the Hawa Lur means Hawa ki beti, if I'm correct, Ms. Shawana. So she has been doing a lot of work on gender-based violence, and her alumni small grant was also on the gender-based violence 16 days of activism. So let's start with Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali, would you like to formally introduce yourself along with your alumni small grant?
Great, thank you so much for the opportunity. So my master's and PhD funded by Fulbright was in health communication. And in health communication, we designed the communication campaigns to influence attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors about unhealthy attitudes towards healthy attitudes. So all of this is based on the principles of social psychology, individual and social psychology. So after coming back to Pakistan, when I noticed the issues that you all know about the violence and extremism and these intolerance issues, then I thought that based on the same issues that we face here in health communication from the social psychology, can we also change people's beliefs, attitudes, social norms, emotions, towards being more accepting of minorities and people who are not like us, they are different. So based on this campaign, which is very hard to do, we designed a social media campaign that reached around 2 million individuals in the Punjab region. And I'm more than happy to talk more about it based on the ideas once you all actually introduce yourself also. Yeah.
Sounds good. Moving to Ms. Shawana, would you like to introduce yourself and your small grant, please?
Thank you, Ashab. I'm Shawana Shah, working for the rights and protection of women, girls, and transgender in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa through my non-profit organization, the Hawa Lur. Basically, my grant was around 16 days of activism against gender-based violence because we saw that during the pandemic, we saw another epidemic, which was violence against women and gender-based violence. So we thought, why not to use this opportunity of 16 days of activism and bring the youth, the scattered groups of youth, to a single platform so that they can act as agents of change and gender equality through that platform.
Sounds very nice and promising. Moving to Mr. Bilal. Bilal, please introduce
yourself. Thank you so much, Ashok. My name is Bilal Farooq Khan. I head the marketing communications and partnerships here at the National Incubation Center, Peshawar. I've been associated with NIC since the inception, almost more than 4 years. Before this, I was with another incubation center in Peshawar, Peshawar 2.0. So I've basically been working with startups in KP and Peshawar in particular for almost over 8 years now. And that is my forte. Also, I've been looking after marketing and communications of both incubation centers. So that is a little bit of my expertise as well. My grant, basically, it was during the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We wanted to do something because we've been trying to promote KP, as we know, as compared to the rest of the provinces, lags behind a little bit. So again, most of our focus in the incubation center is education about entrepreneurship. A lot of people, they still want to graduate, they want to do jobs, but we want to sort of bring them up to speed on what entrepreneurship is and how they can help themselves and how they can help others. So one of the aspects that was really close to my heart was we have a lot of problems in the education sector. We back in I think 2010 we had done an education hackathon. Since then, I cannot recall an education hackathon being done in KP. So I thought that this is a good opportunity that we use the Global Entrepreneurship Week to do a education hackathon, and that's what we did. It was a 3-day hackathon. We also plugged it in with a digital youth summit that happens every year in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. It's one of the biggest tech conferences of Pakistan. So it was a beautiful opportunity for us to plug the hackathon in with the digital youth summit to reach as much people as we can. And for 3 days, we brought these innovators together and they worked on solutions, startup solutions on the education sector.
Sounds good. So we have a very diversified group of people. One is like technology, the other is civic literacy, and the third one is women empowerment. So I guess our audience will have a lot of motivation because it covers almost all the sectors according to the need of time. So moving to Ms. Shawana. Shawana, can you just tell me, like, once you were motivated, so I wanted to know about the proposal process, like, so that our audience and fellow alumni can understand that how did you transform your idea into a proposal, and what were the main factors that you considered that helped you get the grant or score the grant?
Okay, Ashab, it's the idea which is actually, I believe, when you start working around some idea or project, it's very important to take into consideration that your idea is realistic and it is needed. I mean, we have been working a lot during the pandemic around gender-based violence and women empowerment, and we saw that there were scattered group of young people who were working around that, but there was not a single platform for them, so that way they can build their capacity and they can reach out to the community. So I think one important thing to keep in mind is how clear you are about your issues at the ground level, because unless and until your idea is not realistic and it is not needed by the community, it is of no use. Secondly, you also have to take into consideration the sustainability aspect of your ideas, because if you're applying for something, or if you are proposing any idea and it is not sustainable and it is just going to help people for a day or two, it is not going to be helpful in the long run. So I believe to be realistic about your proposed action, to be realistic, and as well as your issue or your idea, the proposal should be sustainable. It should have a longer term impact rather than a short term impact on your communities. Secondly, I believe it is very, very important to have an assessment of your community yourself, because if I was working on an idea around gender-based violence, I actually conducted an assessment and evaluated what is actually needed, how our youth was lacking behind the knowledge on pro-women legislations, or how they can go and advocate in the local communities, or how important are the social mobilization or advocacy skills for them. And then we saw that there are many stakeholders or service providers, both at the end of public or private institutions, but they are the scattered institutions. They do not have the single coordination mechanism, or they lack that referral pathway. So what we did was we brought them together onto a single platform by holding a national, provincial level dialogue by the stakeholders and for the people around the province. That's what we did, because we thought that when these stakeholders will come together on a single platform and they will talk about their services and how they can link together and provide a better services for the communities, that's what would actually work in a longer term. So two things are very important: be realistic, assess your issues, and your actions should be sustainable.
Quickly quoted. So what you mean to say is that alumni who wants to propose an idea should have a very strong grip on the topic and the research on it, right? Like prior knowledge should be there so to transform your ideas into reality.
Exactly, because it shouldn't be like this is something which is actually a buzz idea going on around, everybody's working on it and we should also work on it. You should actually work on something which is actually needed, not something which everybody's working on.
Sounds good. Moving to Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali, what's your take on this aspect?
Yeah, so much. I think you have said it very nicely. So the main thing for my case was to build the campaign on evidence and data, not just based on my gut feeling and something that I wanted to do. So that was very important for me to understand what is the model of success here. What is it that has worked elsewhere that I can import to Pakistan in the cultural context. So understanding the evidence across the board, something that is the first step. And second thing is to understand the audiences. So our audiences, especially when we talk about harmony and non-violence, etc., they become a super important area to understand their culture, their beliefs, their norms, their reactions, their aspirations, their fears, and things like this. So it was super important for me to go and talk to my audiences for which the campaign is being developed. Then for the proposal part, there are 5 main areas that I would recommend the grantees to look into. And that is the innovation, significance, environment, approach, and motivation. So innovation basically matters because there is so much already happening. Run of the mill things may not go well. So you have to find something which is new and unique, out of the box, innovative in your idea as compared to other ideas, because there will be so many of these proposals coming in. And second thing is your own approach towards it. So for example, if you're from FATA, if you're from Sindh, if you're from an elite class, a low income class, a middle class, gender based something. So what is your approach, your take to it, what is it that you bring into it? And I think the third important thing is about the environment, the resources which are around you, the context in which you will be implementing the whole proposal. So your environment, your team, your equipments, the finances that you will receive, and all of the things which are out there that you can capitalize on to build on it and give a successful project within the circumstances. So all of this is basically what it is about. And then it is a balance of all these 5 things. It's not just, sometimes I think mera proposal jo hai, it is very highly significant, but the motivation is less, the environment is less, the budget is not being matching. So it has to be a complete harmony and balance of all of the 5 aspects to be able to succeed for the grant. And then one important thing, which is a little minor, but really important, is the guidelines which are in the RFP, the call. So if the call has certain guidelines already assigned, this is what they want, this is what they don't want, this is what their thematic areas are, this is what the focus are, this is what the audiences are, this is the way they want it to be, then follow the guideline like very religiously. Otherwise, proposal may not have a very high chance of being accepted. So there's a lot of work goes into it, but it's really worth it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. The points are very enlightening, and I would request you if you can just quickly write the bullets in the comment section so that we can write it in the live session, live comment section as well, so our audience can have it. And you're very right, since we have 2 kinds of ASGs. One is thematic, that is totally theme-based, and the other is an open theme. So we have to be very careful in understanding that what call they're applying on. Sometimes they're just applying on an open theme, and the open theme has more relaxation because it's totally their idea and they have to pitch in their idea. Whereas the closed themes or special themes are which the US mission is targeting, like to cover. That could be like the gender base, so it could be anything that is basically specifically falling into that ASG cycle. So moving to Bilal, because your field is very tricky and IT, so I guess everybody would be keen to know about your aspect as well, because everything is turning into digitalization due to fourth industrial revolution, I would say. So please share your thoughts on that as well.
Thank you so much. So the problem with being the last is the people before you cover most of the things. But I'd like to sort of add another aspect to this, that is partnerships while you're applying for the proposal. So that is pretty important. One thing that actually helped me a lot in my proposal was I had the KP Elementary Education department on board. So we had talked to the Minister for Education. He was on board. Then, as I mentioned, NIC Peshawar was on board. Then we had the World Bank on board with the DCU Summit and all of that. So I think partnerships make your proposal very strong. And उसमें से ये भी आपको पहले से पता चल जाता है कि what is it for the participants, right? So with the hackathon, we not only wanted solutions to these problems in the education sector, but then we had a way to implement those solutions as well by partnering with the education department. So जो आपका audience में बंदा आ रहा है who is taking part in the hackathon, तो उसको भी ये motivation एक है कि चलें ये ऐसे ही 3 दिन मेरा टाइम नहीं जाया कर रहे, my solution stands the chance of being implemented. उसके अलावा एक जो with these hackathons to attract audience, हमने ये किया कि I convinced NIC Peshawar, my organization, to set up a small prize money for the winning team. So that had a lot of attraction that way, and a lot of people applied. So उस तरह से भी आप different लोगों से partner करके leverage कर सकते हैं. The more partners you have on board, the stronger your proposal is, and the more you can actually, at the end of the day, it is about giving back to the community. The more stronger you can give back to the community. And again, it's a vast field. अब वही था कि because at that point in time, आजकल as Shawana said कि जरूरी नहीं है कि आप एक bandwagon सारे लोग वो कर रहे हैं तो आप वही काम करना शुरू करते हैं, right? So sometimes think out of the box. We could have gone for a digital skills training program, but हमारे team अपने चल रहे थे digital skills training programs, right? So again, as I said कि last, I remember कि पेशावर में हमने EdTech hackathon कराया था back in 2010. So बहुत अच्छे से वो नहीं था हुआ. We could have, so we've got startups in health tech, we've got them in EdTech, AR, VR, you name it, हर किस्म की technology में. लेकिन again, अगर हम AR, VR की तरफ जाते तो we wouldn't have reached a wider audience, right? Similarly, अगर हम e-commerce की तरफ जाते, so a lot of people are doing that, so we just blend in with the rest. ठीक है? So again, education एक ऐसी चीज है जिससे बहुत सारे लोग relate कर सकते हैं. It's basically the core, the basis. आप अगर वो ठीक करते हैं तो आपके बाकी सारे मसाइल हल हो जाएंगे, right? So again, हमारा मकसद ये था कि we not only reach out to those people जो कि आके इस hackathon में participate करें, लेकिन कल को जब वो startups बनाते हैं, so those startups will further employ more people. One of the startup that actually won, it sits at NIC Peshawar, uses our co-working space. They've hired 3-4 more people after that hackathon, and they're growing their team and they're giving back to a lot of students. So again, वो एक मेरे ख्याल से जो सबसे बड़ी चीज आपको देखनी चाहिए हुई है कि आपका at the end of the day impact क्या है, आप कितने लोगों को जो है you're touching their lives directly or indirectly, that helps a lot. लेकिन जो मेरे ख्याल से मेरा key takeaway था, that is focus on partnerships. ASG could be one component of it, but you can bring so many more people on board and make it a collective effort. ताकि हर एक को उसमें से ये भी होता है कि every single donor, they're relaxed that way कि okay, there's more people on board as well. तो उनको भी तसल्ली रहती है and everyone is happy at the end of the day.
Thank you, Bilal. You have raised a very good point of having sponsorships, and this is what we acknowledge our alumni as well. And since we have a network of more than 35,000 alumni, and we have our alumni working in diverse groups and fields, so it's always good to connect with your alumni. And if you have a project that have the same interest as your fellow alumni, so it's always a good chance and opportunity to bring your project to another level. So moving forward to the technicalities of the proposal, Shawana, I would like to ask you that what was the most important part do you believe in your proposal that you believe is to be considered important for an alumni?
I believe for me, and I think the important part would be the project methodology and how you are actually going to deliver it. Because unless and until you're not clear about it, you can't do you couldn't be clear on what actually your plan is. So I think you should be very much clear on your objectives, goal, and project methodology, because that is what is important and that is how you have to implement the activities. Secondly, I also believe that budget plays a very important role as well. And that is again linked with the project methodology, because how you are actually strategizing your activities is directly dependent on the budget as well. That's where these both part actually plays an important part. So for me, I think you should be, but it is very important that your methodology, your strategies should be clear. Most of the times we see that whenever we are applying for certain project or proposals, we add a lot of activities and stuff to that. And by the end of developing a draft, we see that we are not able to actually comply with the budget. And that's when we give up. So I think it is very important to take into consideration both the methodology as well as your budgeting, because that's how you can work on both and you can actually comply with that. Secondly, I think for the methodology part, it is very important to have 2 or 3 clear strategies to implement your activities. Rather than having a lot of activities, you should have 2, 3 clear strategies under which you can plan your activities, because that's what I did as well. I had 2, 3 clear strategies, because for me, one of them, the methodology which was very important to me was building strong referral mechanisms and pathways to actually counter gender-based violence. Second one, for example, was community sensitization and interventions. So I think you can have like 2, 3 clear strategies, and under those strategies, you can have the clarity on your activities, and then you can plan on your budget. But don't add a lot of activities, because that will mess up with your budget.
True. We also believe in quality over quantity. You're very right, Shawana. So, Dr. Ali, would you like to add something to it?
Great. I would just first want to appreciate what Shawana and Bilal mentioned. Definitely methodology is important, and what Bilal just mentioned about the partnerships. We could not have done it without the partnership. Sponsored, like finding support was the key for us. It's not a one-man job. It's a very group and team effort, especially for the thing that we were looking into, religious intolerance. It was so complex. It was so uncertain. It was so fluid that it was really moving and changing right in front of our eyes, and we were not able to figure out what is it that we do about it. How do we even approach it? How do we even meet the target that we have? And through the partnerships, through understanding what others have done, through building on their experiences, we were able to find a way forward towards it. That's one thing. But that is the case for many issues now we are facing in Pakistan. The complexity, the wicked issues, the way they are, you solve one part of the problem, another thing comes up right there. So this is something, again, going back to what Bilal mentioned, is that seeking support from experts, from mentors, from resources, from even within ASG grant, we were having so many conversations with them, with the group. We were constantly coming back to them, giving them the feedback and saying, this is where we are at, what do you think? And then they give us feedback, we move on. And in terms of the budget also, like Shawana mentioned, we changed it over time. The reason why we changed it, because things were changing over time. It was not a constant, there was a pandemic going on, there were so many things happening at the same time. And so we were very open in terms of the communication with them, and that really helped us achieve it before time successfully, meeting the goals and objectives and helping the beneficiaries, which is the key actually. This is the real audience is what matters, the beneficiaries. So yeah.
Right, Dr. Ali. And Bilal, what is your take on this?
So again, again, I'm in the end, so they've pointed out the most important parts. But yeah,
in my next question, you will be the first one. We'll start with you.
Yeah.
No way.
So you have to have a clear roadmap, what you want to do. So the proposal should be, again, सबसे पहले ये बात आती है, if you have a full command over what you want to do, so things become very easy for you. आप कभी भी ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट के लिए अप्लाई ना करें which is out of a comfort zone, right? So उस लिहाज से it becomes very easy. For example, हमने जितने sessions कराए, जितने trainings, so I had all of those people lined up. ठीक है कि भाई, and you call them for सबसे पहले कि जी मैं ये कराने जा रहा हूँ. Before you even get the grant or anything, would you be available? Would you be willing? क्योंकि last moment changes में फिर बहुत बड़ा उसमें मसला आ जाता है, right? So आप एक flow बनाएं. You need to be a very good event manager, basically to sort of इसको पूरे को execute करने के लिए. So आप उसको सुबह से शाम तक का एक flow बनाएं. अगर 3 दिन का है, उस तरह का आप different किस्म का project flow बनाएं, और आप उस लिहाज से देखिए कि किस तरह से वो हो सकता है. As I said last, उसमें मैंने कहा था question में कि reach out to partners. And you pointed out कि alumni network भी बहुत बड़ा है. So एक तो वो partners थे कि who partnered on the project. उसके अलावा I had a lot of help from fellow alumni. और उसमें मजे की बात ये है कि उनको आपको कुछ देना भी नहीं पड़ता. Right? So Yeah, so again उनसे आप देखें कि आपके पास कितने alumni हैं जिनको आप loop in कर सकते हैं. So I'd like to thank Shafiq and Tahira and White Lab. Say they're part of our alumni network as well, because it was my first time and they've done 3-4 grants इससे पहले. So I seek a lot of help from them. Right? So उस लिहाज से दूसरा एक जो है I think the entire AGS team has been very helpful. हमारी कांस्टेंट जो है कम्युनिकेशन रही है बैक एंड फोर्थ. अच्छा हम एक ये भी था कि आई थिंक आई वाज द ओनली पर्सन जिसने इन पर्सन इवेंट कराया था इस साल, क्योंकि उसका यही था कि आई केप्ट ऑन कन्विंसिंग देम कि वी विल बी वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट विद कोविड एसओपीज, लेकिन यू हैव टू सी के इसका जो इम्पैक्ट होगा, बिकॉज जो बाकी सारे पार्टनर्स मैं ऑन बोर्ड लाए हूँ they're doing this on these particular dates during the global entrepreneurship week. तो इसका जो impact है वो बहुत बढ़ जाएगा if we do this right now and in person, right? So again it was a back and forth. So मैंने अपना point of view बताया and they were good enough to understand and we went ahead with an in-person event. So again उससे भी clear communication is very important कि आपसे expectations क्या हैं और आपकी in terms expectations क्या हैं. So उससे भी आपको बहुत फायदा होता है.
Right, Bilal, and we'll start with you again. So
Thank
I'm
you.
just like referring to a question that we received in a comment section that one of our alumni applied for some grant, but it was suspended due to COVID-19. So my question is like how much important is flexibility in today's time? Because you never know, like the things are shifting towards online and sometimes they are physical. So what is your tip for a project that is flexible enough to be converted online or vice versa if need be?
So again, देखिए वो तो depend करता है. Flexibility is extremely important. Initially, when we designed our proposal, it was meant for a very large audience of people. कम से कम at least we were targeting 100-200 people. We were तो आखिर में they were like okay ठीक है आप करें लेकिन restrict this to 50, right? उसके अलावा if you wanted तो we could have done this online. अगर worst case scenario ये भी हो सकता है, ठीक है. In case अगर ये कह रहे हैं कि I think tourism और culture के लिहाज से कुछ करना चाह रहे हैं, सो एक तो ये है कि एक तो आप देखें देयर कैन बी, अगर इस तरह की लोकेशंस हैं जो कि रिमोट हैं जहाँ पे ज़्यादा लोग नहीं हैं, तो आप लिमिटेड कैपेसिटी में प्रपोज कर सकते हैं कि मैं आई कैन टेक पीपल और वो सारा हो सकता है. उसके अलावा बीइंग फ्रॉम द टेक सेक्टर, सो AR VR की जो आजकल फैसिलिटी है, ठीक है, आप यू गो देयर यू शूट अ 360 डिग्री वीडियो और उसको जो है, सो बेसिकली हमारा जो IVLP जिस तरह हुआ था which was virtual, ठीक है. So basically it can be the same sort of setting कि आप जो है virtually लोगों को connect करा सकते हैं, right? You have to be very flexible that way कि उसमें and very creative as well, ठीक है, कि किस तरह से आप जो है अपने circumstances में रहते हुए अपना proposal design करते हैं.
Yes, you're very right. Dr. Ali, what's your take on this?
Bilal just said everything that I wanted to say, so I don't know if...
Okay, we can move to Shawana then.
No, just one more thing. So what I think you can use it for your advantage. So for example, due to the COVID-19, you can foresee and say okay, because of the pandemic which is going on since the last 2 years, so you can, in the plan, you can say if this happened, this is what I'm going to do it. If that happened, this is what I'm going to do it, depending on the situation. So if and else kind of a situation will actually give you more points in terms of the reviewing. You are thinking about it, and whatever thing happens, you will execute it. So that will actually can be something for your advantage here.
Right. Thank you. Shawana, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so I think that your activities should be flexible enough that they could be actually converted into the online spaces. One challenge which we actually initially, when we were proposing our activities, was that we had to conduct a 3 days masterclass for youth. And we were of the view that it is very difficult, nearly impossible to have youth sitting in front of the cameras for the whole day for the masterclass and listening to the trainer. And that is actually so boring and nobody would like to attend that. So what we did was that then we actually worked on our ideas, and what we thought was that we should actually make it a little bit more interactive. So we started using jam boards and we started using WhatsApp as a tool rather than making them sit on the screens for the whole day. we switched to for the communication to the WhatsApp, and then we started using the Jamboards, and then we actually initiated some activities which were regarding, let's do something like have a painting session later in the evening around 6 or 7 o'clock, and then share your paintings in the group, and we'll see what everybody's doing. So that's how we actually made it more flexible, rather than making them sit to the screens and stick to the screens and listen to those presentations and making them feel bored. So make your activities more interactive if you are shifting to the digital gadgets or technology. Make them interactive so that the other person who is actually taking part in your activities is interested enough to actually complete them. Secondly, keep your activities flexible enough. Even if there is COVID or if there is lockdown, you can actually easily shift back to the online spaces. So that's what I would say, that make them more flexible.
Right, you're very right about it. Like if you're converting to IT or e-commerce or something like that, it has to be interactive. Otherwise, it will be boring for sure. So just like sharing an open question for you all, would you like to share your success story of the ASG so that we may have an idea about the impact that you have created on your community? So it's an open, who wants to start first about the success story of your ASG?
I can go first.
For sure, ladies first.
Yeah, so once after we had our provincial level dialogue with the stakeholders, which actually included the provincial ombudsperson and representatives from Election Commission of Pakistan and some other institutions, what actually happened after that was that those institutions made sure to take on board the youth specifically when it comes to decision-making processes, and provincial ombudsperson specifically invited those youth participants from our master training to her office so that they can look into the work of provincial ombudsperson and how they are actually dealing with the cases of inheritance rights and sexual harassment at the provincial level. So I believe that that was an initiative which wasn't taken previously, and those offices, public offices, were more open towards the public and the people, and they invited them themselves. Secondly, after our masterclass, many of our youth participants who actually completed their master training, they actually initiated the 16 days of activism activity inside the University of Peshawar campus, and there was a huge event around awareness on prevention against sexual harassment legislation. And that event was such a success that many of the students from all the departments participated, and the organizers of those events were the participants of our master training. So I believe that it's a success that your beneficiaries are giving back to their communities and their society after you have done something.
It's really a commendable work that you have done, and you all have done, and we have been witnessing our alumni doing wonders in their communities, and we get the feedback, and it really boosts our morale and the US mission's morale that we are bringing a change in our society. So over to you guys, whoever wants to pick first. I'm not choosing anyone.
Dr. Shah, please go ahead.
So thank you so much. I think what happened good for us was that we were using social media. So we were able to reach a massive population, like around 2 million people in Punjab. So that was something we were very extremely excited about, that we are actually reaching out to people. And second thing that we did was that we did not just share with them messages in terms of facts and figures. We shared with them narratives and stories, so which are more appealing and which are more interesting, engaging, and which are more likely to be shared more forward. That was the second thing that we were able to achieve during this campaign. And the third one is that, as you see around, one of the problems that we are facing in terms of intolerance is that we do not see a lot of capacity among people to have a positive exchange of views, like a very harmonious, simple way to just exchange their views with each other. And there is a lot of literature on this, and we were able to operationalize the scientific literature into something more meaningful in Urdu language to our country. So in fact, we brought back something which has been tested in many other parts of the world, but we were able to see it happening with 2 million people in our backyard, and we did not receive a single negative reaction. So on such a sensitive issue and topic, there was no red flags, there were no backfires, there was no boomerang effect. So we were all very sort of happy about it.
Great.
Yeah, so in our project, almost 10 teams applied. There were more people than they were merged into those 10 teams. And out of those 10 teams, 5 of them are now full-fledged functioning startups, right? So one startup, when it takes off, it starts off employing 3 to 4 people, and then it can go upwards, and maybe if it becomes a proper company later on, it can employ hundreds of people. Right. So currently, as I said, one of them has taken co-working space here at NIC Peshawar, and they're working out of here. Because of COVID, they have sort of made their operations online. So they're doing a lot of sessions on an everyday basis online for different people. So we impact these startups, and these startups then further impact more people. So there's another startup. So this startup in particular is called Tutors Gateway. Then there's another startup currently. Then they got incubation at Dursal Peshawar. They're doing online career counseling. So all of these startups, so one of the startups that actually came in third, they have applied to NIC Peshawar's incubation program. So that means that for them, the hackathon has sort of, their careers have taken a turn, and they seriously want to consider entrepreneurship, and they want to grow it as a career, and they want to help more people. So again, that way the impact has been very good, because if we are able to create 1 or 2 good startups, they end up becoming very good companies, and they end up touching a lot of lives along with it.
Right, thank you. Before we move on, I just want to remind our audiences that the last day to apply for the ASG this cycle is the January 31st. Make sure that you send in your proposals before 31st, because sometimes the internet gets stuck or last minute issues and everything. We've been conducting these sessions from in January, and you can see the previous sessions on our PUAN pages as well if you want to learn more about the ASGs and the motivation behind it. So moving forward to our honorable speakers, I would like to ask you that if you want to give a direction to our alumni regarding the fields that you are working in, so that they may know and have some idea that which kind of fields are open for them, in which they can basically work together, or pitch in their ideas, or something that needs to be addressed, because you all are the experts in your field. You have a better understanding and better experience in that. So I would just like to take this opportunity to help our fellow alumni to have a idea about what is waiting for them. It's an open question.
So again, there are a lot of fields. Again, as I said earlier, it depends on what your forte is. As Shawana mentioned earlier as well, don't go into something that just because it's a fad, just because you want to get on to the bandwagon because everyone is doing it. Play to your strengths, right? Because let's say you propose something, ASG liked it, you even got the grant, but then you will have a lot of problem in the execution if you don't know what you're doing. So again, I would recommend play to your strengths. If you think one thing is your forte and something other is someone else's forte, come together, apply together, right? And go forward that way. And just don't apply for the sake of it. Apply for a cause, apply for a reason, apply because you believe in something.
Right, rightly said.
I just have one recommendation, one point of advice. I would say that please do go through the grants, the previous grants your alumni have been working on, because replication is not a good idea. If you're going to replicate the same thing with some different title or with different names, it's not going to work. A little bit of research would take you a long way.
You're very right, Shawana, and echoing your point, your suggestion, I would just like to tell everyone that you can see the previous grants on PAK-US Alumni Network.org/grants. You can just go into the grants sections and you will witness some amazing work that our alumni have done regarding the ASGs. So the question moves to you, Dr. Ali. What's your point on this?
So,
your suggestion.
So there are two things I wanted to share. Your idea is good and will always be good because it's your thing. It's so passionate about it. If it is not accepted, don't worry about it. Don't get discouraged about it. The reason why it is because there could be so many other factors going on that has influenced that decision, and it is not about you or your idea or something else. So motivation bilkul lose nahi karni. There is somebody somewhere will see the light in your proposal. That's one thing. And second thing, in the chat, I can see Rana Ahmed has some comments about environmental communication or heritage, cultural heritage and all these things. So you see, so your main area is cultural heritage and ancestry, history, art, and things that you are very passionate about, but you have to tie it in into the funding guidelines and priority. You have to sort of weave it in, embed it in, integrate it in, and make sense of it. So in a way, loop it in. Say, what I'm doing here is this, what you are asking here is this. There is an interface between these two things, which is going for me to bring in my expertise into helping your objectives and goals through also. And so this is what the hybrid of these two makes it fascinating for you to funding. And so make a case, don't not just your case, but also how it fits into their case. Yeah.
You're very right, Dr. Ali. And I was coming up to that point that what you want to tell to the alumni whose proposal is not selected, what's your take on how to react to the failure or the rejection of the proposal? Because some of the alumni get very disheartened and they think that their idea was not worthy enough. But we at our end have to check all the things. Sometimes the idea is very good, but implementation is not doable and not possible. Sometimes the implementation is very good. The idea is very, very basic. So I would like to ask you that what do you suggest that how should they basically improve themselves if the idea is rejected or not selected? Anyone of you can take it.
I can go ahead with that because I have my personal experience with the failure you mentioned. So once I applied for the grant and my grant was rejected, but then I initially thought that my idea was actually very unique and that was something which is something new and I should do it. And I applied for that and I took on board some of the alumni as well. But then when it was rejected, I worked again on my idea and I thought that what went wrong actually. And that's when I realized that was something which was actually happening already. And I was lacking the research part, which I actually mentioned, because that was from my personal experience, because I prepared a whole draft and I worked on it like day and night. And after that it was rejected. And I was like, oh my God, that has got rejected. And it wasn't something which was worth it. But then I realized that it was something which was already happening.
You're very right. Research is very important.
Yeah, I would advise them to seek advice, seek mentorship, guidance from people who are already Fulbrighters or their advisors or teachers, mentors, writers, whoever the most advice you get, the better it will be, because there's always some improvement. There is a chance of improvement there. So take a lot of advice on that. And like Shawana was mentioned, your idea is unique. That is true. So you have done one part of it. So your idea is innovative. And you say that what I'm doing is significant. So you have done another part of it. Good. But now there are 3 other parts of it also. So the other 4 or 3 parts cannot be missed. Because your proposal is currently half-baked. You won't eat a half-baked thing. Like you want it fully baked. So you want the team also, you want the budget also, you want other things also, and then you can say, see, I am the right person to do it. I have mentioned all of the things that you require. Even then, if it is not accepted, then it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it, but you have done your full effort into making it fully baked and ready. Yeah.
Very right, Dr. Ali. And what's your take on failure, Bilal?
Yeah, so again, we have a lot of experience with this because every year we get around 800 to 1,000 applications for incubation at NIC Peshawar, and unfortunately, we have to select 30 to 35 out of those 800 to 1,000 people. So we get this question a lot about rejection. So this applies to actually the entire process of applying, be it anywhere, be it ASG or anything. So it doesn't say anywhere that your proposal was rejected because the idea wasn't good enough, right? So again, then this is very important, as Dr. Saab said, that you talk to other alumni, that what could be the issue, right? We always tell startups that you did not get selected, not because your idea wasn't good enough. It's just because the 35 that got selected were better than you, right? So again, it's a constant improvement. I always like to give this example of one of the startups that applied to NIC 6 times, and he did not succeed the first five times, and he got in the 6th time because he kept on improving every single time, right? So again, all of us, when we write our proposals, when we make a grant plan, there are improvements. If it didn't get selected, we probably need to tweak it a little bit. We need to add, maybe at times maybe we're doing too much, right? So we need to take a step back and look at the selected grantees, right? If we have access to them, if we can talk to them, and then assess your grant, kya missing tha, right? So again, as I said, it doesn't mean it was a bad idea. It just means other had done their homework better than you.
Exactly, very right, Bilal. It's just about the opportunity that is in front of us. As they say that talent is global, but opportunities are not. And since the competition and the bar has raised high, so it's always a labor of hard work to get the best in life. So I would like to move towards the end of this session, and I would just like to ask everyone to just share their last comments, suggestion, or motivation for the alumni before we wrap up this session.
So
any piece of advice? Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm open to collaboration. This should be motivation. If this motivates anyone,
Sounds
and I need to cover me as a person, I'm open to collaboration. If anyone wants to reach out and collaborate, I'll be more than happy, and I'll be more than be willing to help.
Perfect, Bilal. I would request you to share this open call on our Facebook pages as well, Facebook groups of the alumni, so that it is easy for the alumni to approach you. And if you have an opportunities or collaboration opportunities for alumni, all of you who are here and who are listening to me, they can always post it on our chapter group so that other alumni can take benefit of it, and they can always like collaborate with you guys and the other alumni. This is what we are looking for, like the networking between the alumni. Synergies, I would say. Yes, Shawana, your last advice for the alumni. Please.
Yeah, I believe that whatever we have spoken about here is from our own personal experiences. And if something is actually not working out for you, that's fine. Just skip that part and apply for the grant. You never know what happens next. So yeah, go ahead, apply for the grant, seek help from us if you really need some help with the proposal or any part of it. So yeah, do apply.
Yes, yeah, I think like Shawana mentioned, it's more important to just go ahead and do it than not do it. So that's one thing. It will be nicer if you go a little extra mile and add some more visuals and graphs and charts into it in the proposals. Instead of just writing what you mean, you can also display or demonstrate what is it that you are talking about. So that will help the reviewers see it more visually. That's one thing. And maybe the proposals do not ask, he knows you and you had a letter of support that if this funding is accepted, then he has the capacity to deliver. So there is nothing wrong in adding more bells and whistles into the proposal more than what is being asked there.
Very right, Dr. Ali. And I would also like to add that if your grant is completed, make sure that you try to have a check and balance of the impact that it has created. It should never end. It should always have a ripple effect, and it should always keep on going, I would suggest. So thank you all. I would like to close this session. Thank you everyone for being here. And I would like to once again repeat for alumni that the cycle is closing on January 31st, 2022. This current cycle, to make sure that you grab your ideas, pen them down, and just like implement them. Our fellow speakers have shared very nice tips with you, very helping tips with you, motivationally and technically as well. So make sure that you follow their advice and apply for the small grant. And these sessions are also available on our Facebook pages, so you can see the recordings over there as well. With that, I would like to thank all of you for your time and your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. And stay safe, everyone. Please take care of yourself and everyone around you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.